3, and then number 4 is certain capital orders, and the first thing mostly related to the construction and renovation of clubhouse. So I will ask the general manager and Jennifer Detti, who's a liaison to the reserve committee, to present.
Yes, just for the few residents that are remaining, and the board. I knew this was going to happen, that's why I asked for the break.
The loyal folks are still
Yeah, both the reserve committee has approved, in their case they've approved all of the listed items. Janice is going to go through them, and Russ, Stephanie, our chairman of our finance committee is here, and the finance committee has recommended all of the capital. And approved, both of them approved all the paperwork.
Okay, item number 3 is approve the replacement compartment sink for the bar renovation project from reserve fund in the amount of $642. That particular project was not on the original bid because we were going to try to move the sink from bar number A to bar number B, and we couldn't get our license for opening the new bar, so we had to buy one. So that is for $642. The road paint, we needed more paint. The next purchase was $996. We already had the bid for the paint company in the prior bid that we did, which was reserve number 2010-37. So that was already outsourced, and there really is no other paint company available to give us this paint. So that's number 2. Number 3 is the sidewalk. We're fortunate enough to have oak trees and an oak tree root. We require the fixing of a portion of the sidewalk at 1240. The stucco repair on the pool deck retaining wall for $400. That was because of an additional severe crack that was found. That was not that one.
That was the crack.
That was the crack, okay, for $400. And if you notice the sod, the replacement of the shrubs to the back retaining wall, we tried to keep shrubs. We did get some money back from the company, the balance of which to fix that whole project was $4,054.65. And the next one, approved the additional material for labor to complete the pool and spa renovation project from the reserve fund. That was because of additional product needed from what we spec'd out in the beginning in the quantity. And number 6, additional material for labor. Oh, I did that one, sorry. Did I? No, I did. The material to complete the pool deck and retaining wall, that's change order number 6. There was additional material also that was needed. And painting of the pool deck railing. That was not put in the original request on the pool because we thought we were going to leave them white, and then we saw what it looked like, so the decision was made to paint it. So that was an additional $5,480. Approve the country club siding to the reserve fund in the amount of $29,930. That is for the extension on the bar, closed area, and the decayed part of the wall that is above the bar and to the left, the whole building. That is all rotted and needs to be repaired now. Without fixing it, we're looking at leakage into the restaurant.
That also includes the fitness center wall. These areas were found when they opened up to do the new roof areas over the new section. And it was in the 2011, we moved that up to this year, part of it.
And I want you to know that there was concern by the Reserve Control Committee on the amount of stucco versus siding, and that bid has been reviewed and received, and the difference is 3 cents? 4 cents, oh, pennies. So we're going, we recommend that we go with the stucco. And the last one is extra painting needs in the amount of $1,730, and that was for the desk and additional painting on that change order number 2 for the painting. We painted the desk, and we had some other wall paintings that were necessary. Oh, the texture of the wall they had to do some extra work. Thanks,
Yeah, when they removed the wallpaper in the dining room, the walls weren't sized properly, so they had to skin coat them and prime them prior to painting.
I make a motion that we approve the reserve control request. They have all been approved by the reserve control committee.
So second? Okay, board comment, question, discussion?
I'd just like to make a comment about the pool railings. I think it's a very poor quality paint job that's been done.
Sounds like you're.
Yeah, that paint that was put on there is called DTM direct metal, and the powder coating on that railing was deteriorating, so they had to do pressure clean, denature alcohol, wipe it down, paint and brush. But at the same time that we were trying to complete the painting of the rails, we had all the deck and paper projects going on. So once all the outside projects are done, the painter has agreed to come back and go back over all the railings, including completing the railings at the west end of the building by the fitness center.
Sounds like a cure rate.
Yeah, and the cure rate on it is 30 days, and, I mean, we had people touching it the next day. I mean, they wore the paint off the rails over here. So, the painter, I've worked with Ron at acrylic coat painting for over 20 years, and he is a man of his words. He'll come back in and go back over every inch of those rails. We have not done a punch list yet for any of the painting. So, once everything is completed, we are going to go back through the building with Ollie Turzak, the engineer, Bill and myself, do a punch list on everything. So, they are not finished out there.
Additional board comment, question?
As the board secretary, and also as the chair of the board policy and admin committee, I need to remind the board that these submissions do not comply with the requirements that were approved by the board regarding payment policy, also documented in the board policy manual. None of these comply with the requirement.
Meaning what?
Meaning, it was a payment policy approved by the board as to the documentation to support any of these requests. None of these requests satisfy the document requirements established by the board.
I disagree, Bob. Everything in there comes right from the board policy. There was nothing in there except the sink where we were required to get 3 bids. The sidewalk was done by our sidewalk guy. That was noted on the paperwork, and it was an emergency repair. I mean, I don't know what. If you think that we are disregarding the board policy, then we have been doing the reserve meetings wrong for 4 or 5 years.
I will say one more time, and I will read what the policy is, and then you decide whether you can comply or not.
May I say, before you make your comment, may I say to you that these came through the contract that we approved to do the project. That's, we're not going to go out and rebid the contract that we already bought in.
I didn't say you had to. I'm saying there was a certain policy established by the board, and it's documented in the board policy manual. Whether I agree with the policy or don't agree is immaterial. The board decided what the policy was, established the documentation requirements. And I'm saying these don't satisfy. I'll read it to you. It says an explanation and justification for the expenditure. 3 bids or explanation why 3 bids were not obtained. Justification for selection of the vendor or the contractor. Disposition of the replaced asset if appropriate. Indication as to the source of funding. If funding is from the reserve fund, indicate Miller Dawson report line item number amount of reserve, and the year spending was anticipated in the report. Construction contracts in excess of $100,000 required bidding performance bond. Certificate of insurance name association is named insurer. Capital expenditures documentation will be reviewed by the finance committee if funded from the operating fund, or by the reserve control committee funded by the reserve fund, to make sure it is in compliance with the above requirements.
What didn't we do?
Okay, I think we can take this for the next 15 minutes. Bob has made a point, I think, the reserve committee, I think that you're certifying, Janice, that you feel the paperwork's in order, we seem to have an agreement. I would suggest we agree to disagree unless there's further comment. I'll ask for board comment, I'll ask for resident comment. Any resident comment?
Yeah, if I could just comment, is I think the timing of the documentation has been an issue in the past. In that oftentimes the board is getting or has in the past gotten the documentation late. Certain instances, I know the finance committee has had to do special meetings in order to get the paperwork reviewed and approved prior to the. But I think Bill has got a new plan where, Bill, maybe you want to address it.
I think you could rehash in the past. We did have some issues quite a while ago with the paperwork. We've been doing it the same way, and we've been getting it to committees in advance. The biggest problem we had is finance committee met on the third Tuesday instead of the second Tuesday. So Bob pointed out to me last week, which I concurred with him, we were putting agendas out for board approval with items on there that had not been approved or recommended by either the reserve committee or the finance committee. So when we put the agenda out last Wednesday, that was a mistake. It went out by accident. Kevin and Crystal and I have been trying to work on this. We feel that our paperwork is in compliance, and both the finance committee agrees with it, the reserve committee agrees with that, as do the board liaisons. I asked the finance committee to move their meeting up a week so we could have it on the second Tuesday. That way, before that Friday before the board agenda went out, all of and we will never see this many change orders again. That all of the paperwork would have been approved by the reserve committee or recommended for approval by the finance committee when the board got the agenda. And that is now in place.
Okay. Call the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? One opposed? Okay.
Can I just ask a question? Will this next time, it won't happen again, we will have everything in compliance with the policy?
Yes, you will. That's the biggest problem we had is because finance met 2 days before the board meeting. The board meetings were supposed to be the fourth Wednesday. For some reason, they become the second or the third, and we had special ones. But somebody changed the board schedule this year and made them the third Wednesday, and that's caused a huge problem. So that's why the finance committee was the day before the board meeting, and it just wasn't functional. So we've corrected that.
Okay, but I just want to once again say that I think this is reserved control issues that we've just addressed, and they are in compliance with the policy.
As are the capital.
Okay. Moving on, we will address now the capital items. Okay.
The first one was the approve additional material and labor needed to complete the bar renovation project from the capital fund in the amount of $809. This was through one of the subcontractors, Gemini Cabinetry. It was for a bottle rack for the back bar that was needed once the bar was completed to store more of the liquor bottles, and also an additional service area countertop for the servers for the dining room that they needed for to be more efficient over there in the corner. So we added some of the additional racks and countertops in the amount of $809. The next one was to approve change order number 1 for an administrative move of funds from capital to reserve in the amount of $1,200. This was when we originally had the money approved for the beer coolers and the ice machine. When it was purchased, the ice machine came in at more, and so the ice machine came in last, so they moved the funds from capital to reserve. We did not go over the approved amount, though. Yeah. The next one was to approve the amount of $6,530 of the project manager expense to be paid out of capital fund, reducing the amount paid from reserve by the same amount. Bill, you got kind of a better explanation on this for the funding.
Well, it's real simple. It's all paid out of reserve. And what we've done in the past, Larry has gone back, we did this once before to adjust that account. We've been paying Ollie out of the reserve accounts. We go back later and determine what part is expansion and what part is renovation. And it was determined that the 6530 were